You'll never be able to afford a home in Las Vegas. With high home prices and high interest rates, does the dream of home ownership just feel completely out of reach to you? If so, spend a few minutes with me and I'm going to show you a few home hacks. I'm Valerie Brown, the broker owner of Visit Vegas Homes, and I'm going to show you a few home hacks to try to save you money and get you into your dream of home ownership. So tip number one to you is going to be your willingness to explore different neighborhoods, looking at up and coming areas for lower prices. Ideally, a lot of people in Las Vegas do look at Summerlin and Henderson. However, there are a lot of other communities that offer many resources, many amenities just the same, and potentially quite a bit lower of a home price. So the dream of home ownership, maybe in your ideal area, might not be perfect, but if you explore other neighborhoods, you might be surprised at what you find. Tip number two, consider fixer-uppers. Now, I know that ideally fixer-uppers aren't always going to be something that someone has the money for or the time for. However, it can be lucrative, and especially if it's just sort of outdated and not necessarily in dire need or a money pit. So that might be one of your better ideas. Tip number three, look for first-time home buyer programs. There are a ton of them out there for teachers. You have VA. You also have so many more for like the culinary union, bartenders, police department, firefighters. There's a lot of opportunity for first-time home buyers, especially in that industry. Tip number four, consider looking at a builder, a new build home. Now, of course, that's contrary to what I just told you. Tip number two, looking at a fixer-upper. However, one of the important things to remember right now is builders have the margin. They have the profit built in, and they are offering price reductions, number one. They're offering rate buy down, number two, and it's all inclusive. Now, you don't always get to pick everything you want in these new builds. A lot of them are standing inventory, but there's a lot of opportunity there. This brings us to tip number five, save for a larger down payment if possible. I know that that's not always possible for everyone, and they're struggling to come up with closing costs. And then we have this whole NAR lawsuit, which is where buyers have to pay for their agent. I have tips for that too, so look at some of my other videos. Regarding saving for a larger down payment, if you're able to stay with family, stay with parents, save money, not have to pay rent, or even cut other expenses if you're not having those kind of options available to you, anything you can do to save a larger down payment is going to be super beneficial for you. The lower your principal, the lower amount of interest that you're paying, even with higher rates. Tip number six, get creative with the financing. You might have a first-time home buyer program and then couple that with seller closing costs. So you can use those closing costs for anything. Get a rate buy down. You could do a 2-for-1 rate buy down. You could do a lot of different things. You could use that for your actual closing costs and then increase your down payment by what you would have paid with your closing costs. Okay, tip number seven. I actually didn't have this many tips, but I just thought about this. So tip number seven, and my last tip for you today, is to look at homes that have been on the market for a little bit longer than the average time. Those sellers who've been doing price cuts. That usually means they're pretty motivated. Maybe they overpriced it and now it's sat on the market for 60 days. Now they're willing to offer closing costs and a price drop. And sometimes you can actually get a really good deal. So as you can see, there's a lot of different tips, tricks, and home hacks that you can use to actually enter the market and get a competitive edge and get a great deal for yourself. If you're interested in any of this content, please like and share and follow.